Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I had something on my mind that I wanted to talk about today, and I was just thinking that being in a relationship for most of my most of my life, period, taught me a lot. But then also being out of that relationship for the past couple of years has taught me almost just as much. When I think about it, it's really not hard to know if you're with your person. And I think it's easier when you're an adult, but if there's anyone that's younger listening to this, this can help you too. Okay. So what I realize is that anytime, and really when I think about it too, it doesn't really have to be relationships. It can be anything. But for this particular video, it is going to be about relationships. So like, if anything doesn't feel right or you have to question it, that is your indicator. Okay. Now, I know we have different types of people. Sometimes we have overthinkers. Sometimes we have, people that are more nonchalant. Regardless of the case, I think that if something is weighing on your mind heavily and you address it and nothing changes, that's not overthinking. Right? So like, for instance, I was in a relationship from the time I was 15 until let's say 35, technically. I'm about to put y'all in my business a little bit, but okay, so a little bit about me. I don't know how to ride a bike. Okay. So if you're with someone that knows this about you and has actually heard you say multiple times, hey, I can't wait till I can learn how to ride a bike, or I'm going to get a bike or something like that, and I just put it on the back burner, right? I never really actually go out and buy one. Yes, I've had the money a gazillion times, just never went and bought one. Never took the time to do it. Your person is going to be like, hey, at some point, right? Your person is going to be like, hey, we're going to go. Matter of fact, they might even bring a bike home, and be like, look, when y'all sitting down watching TV or, not really doing anything, let's go out here and try to get on this bike and see what we can do. Now it's different if you never really expressed anything about it, then that's not like on your bucket list or anything like that. But when your person is going to make that, I'm not going to say a priority, but at some point they are going to bring that up to you, like, hey, let's go do this. Okay. We passed nearly 20 anniversaries, boyfriend, girlfriend anniversary, and then wedding anniversary. Never a mention, never a surprise gift, or, hey, let's, just to let me know you're thinking, right? But then if I go and I say, so like there's this one situation where I went and I repaired both of our credit, right? Well, I won't say repair, but I had some things removed, and again, we're young, so we made mistakes, but we were in like the 500. So I did some things that I had learned, and I had got our credit scores up to like the mid 600s. Mind you, I did this and it took a couple of months, but all the while he didn't know I was doing it. So one day I showed him, when I seen the credit scores go up, I showed him both of ours. And I actually started working on his first because he had like older stuff that was easier to remove. So he was proud and he was happy. And he was appreciative, don't get me wrong, but it's like I could have noticed that the energy that I gave was not reciprocated. You see what I mean? So those are two like random examples, but that's kind of what I mean. Like, so if you notice that you're doing more and the other person is not, then that's probably not your person. Now, we all know that nobody is perfect. And so we don't want to assume that someone can read our minds and, you know, the first thing that they do, like, oh, this is not my person. No, it's not that. But if you mention something, and it's not addressed or it's not changed, then the only thing I can call that is they're disregarding your feelings, disregarding you. And because I ended up getting, and we tend to do this, I ended up getting, I won't say falling in love with the person, but falling in love with a I don't know, a stereotype or a way of living. It caused me to disregard things that I should have been paying attention to, right? So we all have this ideal that, you know, once you get married, you're not going to get a divorce and things like that. But gone are those days where we're waiting 10, 15, 20 years for somebody to get it right, right? Because it's a cliche, but literally life is too short. Let's just say you got 80 years on here, on 80 years here. Do you really want to spend 25% of that in a pointless relationship when you could have figured it out in 1 or 2 because the signs were there? We all go through everything that we went through for a reason. I know I did. And so I can even see that some of the reason of why I went through the things that I did is so that I can relay this information to you, and especially my children, so that they don't have to go through it at all, or not as long. So I'm okay with that. But if you found this video, then you know that was for a reason. I don't think anything happens by coincidence. I don't think I think everything has a purpose, right? So I just think that when you are with your person, it doesn't feel forced, right? Because there's millions of people in the world, so there's somebody for everybody. I don't think that you have to, oh, I'm going to be alone. Like if you want to be alone, that's fine. But I think that when you have your person, I think that when you have your person, I believe that when you have your person, life is more fulfilling, life is more fun. It's much better. I mean, it's, again, I think it's more fulfilling when you have someone to share life with. I just do. But it has to be your person, right? It has to be when you have your person. I think that one of the main things that will help everything to align is that both parties have to really, really care about what God thinks. Because if you care about what God thinks, then it's going to cut down on doing just like anything to do it's going to cut down the opportunities that you have to do things to ruin the relationship, right? I mean, after you care about what God thinks and you let that dictate how you move, then you're going to think about what your partner thinks, right? So if you're like, okay, before you met, you were going out every weekend, having fun, drinking, doing this and that, and your partner says, well, hey, I think you're going out a little bit too much. I know you used to do that, but I don't really like that much. Well, they're going to love you enough to care about what you said, and they're going to change that. You really shouldn't have to say that a gazillion times for there to be a change, because I just don't. I just think that they heard you. They have a decision. Either they change or they don't. And if they don't and you deal with it, then unfortunately that kind of is on you. So yes, we do have to take accountability, because at some point we have to understand that people are only going to do what we allow. And we can't control what other people do, but we can control what we deal with. It's another thing I had to learn. And when you get to a space where you don't really care about what people think, it makes it easier to make those types of decisions. So I think that we spend a lot of time in situations for no reason. Because like I said, there's someone for everybody. So like, honestly speaking, I feel like the people who play games and you know, cheat on each other or disrespect each other, and the relationship goes like that, those people deserve each other. I've literally seen relationships where they were literally cheating on each other, and like it was like a tit for tat thing. But if you're not giving that same energy, then you deserve somebody who is not going to do all that. Nobody can convince me that every person is disrespectful. Nobody can convince me that everybody cheats. Nobody, like, that's literally just not even realistically thinking. Some people do have discipline, men and women, right? So if you're not into that, I never understand why people do things to people. Like, and I know, like I said, I'm part to blame for my situation, but it's like, why even do the things that you did to somebody who's not even going to chase you? Like, if you're dealing with somebody that's not going to bother you, whether you stay or leave, then just let them, free them. Save yourself time and them time. Because God's going to make sure that that person is okay. Okay? And then you'll wind up old, looking tired, and trying to figure out what now. Because you thought you were going to get away with that forever. So just play with the people who gonna play with you. Don't waste anybody's time. Okay? And so like I said, knowing your person is actually not hard to figure out. It's not gonna feel weird. You're gonna be able to be open and be who, because really you can actually find all of that out in the dating stage before it gets really, really serious. You don't have to, you know, get all deep in and then try to figure things out. Like, especially when you're older, certain conversations need to be had beforehand anyway, so that you guys can both set the correct expectation. Set the correct expectations for each other. So you save a lot of time that way, because time can't be. I think sometimes we get so lost in the illusion of being in a relationship that we don't pay attention to certain things that are right in our face, right? And I'm so proud of the people, that the men and women that are coming up behind me, because you know, I'm making this video for people who are stuck, but what I can see from younger people than me is that they ain't playing no games. And I'm proud of that, because it's changing the dynamic of being in relationships and not being happy. And I know that people say that, you know, well, only you can make you happy, and to a certain extent that's true. But I think if you're living with someone and you're sharing your space with someone and you're sharing your life with someone, they should be able to add to that. Because if they're not adding to that, then they're taking away from it. It's simple. And we don't want to, like I said, I'm real big on wasting time, because you cannot get that time back. And you're probably, what ends up happening is that we continue to go through these things, same thing until we learn. So it's better to learn sooner than later. It's better to accept sooner than later. Because like I said, being with your person, you'll know. And I'm saying this even though I've never actually been with my person, my real person. I was with someone who was assigned to teach me lessons, and I learned eventually. And like I said, I learned in order to move forward in a better way, and to also relay this information to others so that they can move better as well. And I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. So yeah, just every so often analyze your relationship. And it doesn't have to be a big blown up crazy type situation. Like I said, it can just be as simple as the person not giving you the same energy that you're giving them. I mean, now if you feel like you deserve that, then I guess then you would be with your person. But if you feel like you deserve better, you probably do. If you know, we know when we're, I believe God gave us all a sense of discernment. We know when we're doing someone wrong. We know when we're doing someone right. Like, we know this. But we choose to do what we want. It's our choice to make. So you just want to commit yourself to someone who's making the right choices for you, and especially when it comes to building a family and things like that, because your children are going to watch everything you do. So if they see you in a relationship that's just sustaining and you guys are just together just to be together, then that's might a good chance that they're going to end up in those types of relationships as well, and then the cycle goes on, and we definitely don't want that. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys today. Watch the video, share it if you found something helpful for yourself, or is for anybody that you know that are in a relationship going through anything. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.